We have to become the person we are meant to be first, to live the life we are destined to live. We all encounter challenges, obstacles, and even dark times on that journey, but we are not alone. This podcast will give all seekers hope and understanding that others have walked that path before us. My guests will share how they overcame the challenges and what helped them turn the corner. Listening to their inspiring stories, get motivated and take action to transform into that amazing person that you really are. Your voice needs to be heard and your message must be shared. My name is Sabine Quenberg and I am your host. I'm glad that you're here to listen to my podcast where you can discover how to become the more incredible version of yourself. Are you ready? Let's get on this journey together. Now, let's dive into our guest interview. Welcome to our podcast Become. Today, I have a wonderful guest here, Jessica Peterson. And before I introduce you to her, I would like to read her bio real quick. Jessica is a real estate agent and coach to other real estate agents. Her background and accolades includes experience in banking and mortgage in the banking and mortgage industry, best-selling author. She wrote 5 books. And she's also a life coach, a certified business coach, a TEDx speaker. Jessica Peterson, how are you?
Doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me here today.
I can't wait to ask you all the questions that I want to ask and for my audience to get to know you because you have a very interesting story, and that's what this podcast is all about, sharing stories of adversity, overcoming obstacles, and even going through a dark time that brings you out into the light, becoming an even better version of oneself. And I know that you can share some great stories with us. But first tell us, you are a real estate agent, you are a real estate coach or business coach for real estate agents. So what do you do exactly?
Great question. So it's pretty simple. I am a real estate agent and I do coach and train other real estate agents. That's the good news. The bad news is I have a wait list for those right now. My background does involve marketing some of the most expensive real estate in the world, developments, and also other businesses. And as you mentioned, I'm a certified business and life coach, which has really helped me through my business and interacting with other people.
Before you became a real estate agent, you were in mortgage and finance?
So my background is and was in the mortgage banking arena. And I remember at such a young age, I was the youngest one in the company who won top sales. Never imagined, never my goal or anything of that nature. I was very driven at a young age, and I was very driven to help people and discuss with people about their wants, needs, concerns, just genuinely taking an interest. I have to tell you though, there was a woman that wrote me a note and it made a really big impact in my life. There's those couple moments in your life that make the impact, and I'm sharing this with everyone because I want you to pay it forward and do the same thing. When I worked at a bank, this woman wrote a note saying how much she appreciated me and valued me, and I was an asset to the company and I was going to get really far in this world and in this life. And to have a complete stranger essentially believe in me that much, to take the time to write a letter of such nature, was very impactful in my life, and I encourage others to do the same.
I love that story because this is impactful, because if somebody who does not know you personally write this note, means that you really genuinely served her well and she saw something in you. And I believe hopefully everybody has that at one point in their lives, that somebody else sees something in you that perhaps you don't see. And that made a big impact. How did it impact you moving forward?
Moving forward, just know in a couple ways. For one, I even write letters to people today. I'll write it whenever I feel inclined to do so. And so many people have said it's amazing on your timing. Even grown men, my husband, have said, are sitting there crying. And just to be inspired to write letters to other people as well. Because at the end of the day, these may be letters people have said that they cherish. I cherished this one for years. As a matter of fact, I think I still have it over 20 years later. It's that piece to carry with you as a monumental moment. And it probably had an impact and a part because I was the youngest one in the company. And to receive such a compliment felt really good.
It's all about paying it forward, doing a good deed. It can be in words or some action. It doesn't need money, really. I remember Wayne Dyer shared a story with his daughter who, was got a gift from someone else. Someone paid her toll, and she thought that was nice. And the person said, just pay it forward. And then she was in a grocery store waiting, and there was a mom with fuzzy little toddlers behind her. And then she said, why don't you go ahead of me? It seems like you need this right now. And the woman turned to her and she said, you don't even know what an impact that made on me. Because this morning, my husband and I, we just moved here a couple months ago, and I felt not at home, and I felt so closed out, and I wanted to move back. I would tell my husband, and I said to myself, if I don't get a sign today, I'm moving back, and you are my sign. How cool is that? What an impact a small deed can make.
I love that. And I know none of this was scripted or anything, so which is the best, right? Interviews ever. It makes me think of, I'm creating a community called Wow Power Players. And they're people, whether they be real estate agents, mortgage professionals, title insurance, people, this community, they're on a mission to wow one person a day. And I have a whole system and method, and it doesn't mean this extravagant gift or, like you said, or taking people out on the boat. I get asked that quite often. It's just doing these small acts. And I'll never forget this one celebrity. He said, somebody smiled at me one day and it changed my life. So you just never know.
Tell me, Jessica, have you experienced a time in your life where you felt so down or unhappy or felt that something must change in your life in order for you to move forward, to be happy again, because you are a genuinely happy person? But I believe you mentioned something to me in one of our conversations, since we know each other for some time now, that you went through a dark time as well.
Well, everybody, I believe, goes through some dark times. And one of those moments was after my husband was in ICU, and I wrote about it in my book, Create the Perfect Day. I realize every day is perfect because we're alive. Why are we not creating a life that we want, desire? Why are we not living life to the fullest? And it was a little bit of a dark moment, and living in that fear for a little bit of what if this happens to my husband again, or the what ifs, and realizing life is so precious. But writing that book actually helped me pull out of it. I'm also a person of faith, so I know all people are not, and I love all people. But God, pulled me out of that time too. Writing that book really changed my life. And people still today write in and say, this book changed my life. It's a book that I keep and hold on to. And still a year or 2 or 3 years later, go back and revisit, what is this life that I want? And I'm grateful he's here. I'm grateful he's doing okay. And I feel inclined to share this for whoever is listening for whatever reason, to share what my coach at the time shared with me that helped me get through that moment. Is he said, Jessica, to sit there and think about your husband, this happening to him again, all of our life is high risk, not just your husband due to his medical condition, but all of us are high risk just by living in life, and we can't live in that fear. So Create the Perfect Day has made such an impact in my life. I even pull out my own book and I even go through it, and I love it when other people do the same.
And it's so true. It's not waiting for something to happen. It's something that we should cherish every day, the small moments. and not living in fear. And what you said is so true. Many people live in fear because, oh my God, if this happens or that happens. And of course, we know what happened, 2 years ago that kept us a little bit in fear mode. But I also decided, no, I'm just living a healthy life. I take responsibility for my life on my own, and I enjoy every moment. And so it's so beautiful. Um, what was a time in your life that you felt personally? I know, of course, the health situation with your husband, to actually change to become a coach. What did you do before, and was there a significant moment that you realized, I have to change, I have to become something better and greater than I am now?
Ooh, great questions. There's only been a couple very big monumental moments in my life. And the one my husband and I used to, and there's another one I had, that 2-decade career in the mortgage and banking arena. And I, was running a very successful business and doing very well. But I remember I was on the breathing machine, having swine flu. My grandmother, who had a big part in my life, just passed away. And I lost another friend in childbirth. She passed away. And all this was happening in this 1 week. And I remember sitting there thinking, I just don't feel fulfilled anymore. This just didn't feel right anymore. So I left my career, and people were shocked. You put so much time, you put so much money in this. I said, yeah, I did. But it wasn't fulfilling me anymore. So I did leave that career. And it was the best thing I ever did. And I pursued what I actually wanted to do. So that's how that journey happened. And Sabine, it's so fascinating too, because people would make comments, oh, well, you just changed so many careers and businesses. And I sat there and thought, after 2 decades and my first time leaving, and I think people's perception, right? And that can hinder other people from going after their dream. Well, what if people think I am changing careers so much? Okay, even though I shifted after 20 years, some may say that so much. But really, it doesn't matter. I don't care if someone shifts 5 or 6 times a year. I am proud of you for becoming who you are meant to be. And it's going to evolve and change. And that's not always easy. I know you and I have had a conversation where I was coaching real estate agents and mortgage professionals for over a decade. And then I discovered I actually enjoyed doing the real estate side. I had to go to my coach and say, what is happening to me? What is going on? Right? And we dove in this hours of journey, and he said, this is your purpose right now, is to do both. I was not expecting that.
Isn't it interesting? Oftentimes we go through a change not expecting, as you mentioned, that, oh, this is what I ought to do, right? When I started out as actress and performer, director, and I loved it. But then things changed, and I opened up my school and became a coach, a teacher. And then I realized how much fulfillment I got in teaching. And as I moved on in my career, in my life, the whom I was teaching and how I was teaching changed. But one thing was so clear, that was my purpose, my passion. That gives me fulfillment. Sharing those things like this interview, the podcast that I have, that gives me fulfillment because I know people enjoying listening to it and will also get something out of it. And what you just shared, Jessica, is about fulfillment, feeling fulfilled. That's when I truly believe we are becoming our greater self, because we are pursuing what we are good at. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. And you're an amazing coach. And anyone listening, I highly recommend you invest in a coach. I have mentors, coaches, all of that, because that can be a difficult journey. It was difficult for me. And it was totally unexpected. I'm coaching agents. I was a licensed real estate agent, but I had no desire to do the real estate. And this couple kept coming to me and saying, you keep referring us to real estate agents. You keep turning us away. We know lots of real estate agents. We are upset at you, Jessica. Why will you not help us? We want you to help us. So I stepped back and I thought, okay, I'll just help this one couple, right? And the next thing you know, it evolved into, I love this. Now it's evolved into, I'm even helping real estate agents locally with their own transactions. And it's just evolved into a combination of the two. They blend together. And it's just anyone listening to this, get a coach, really open your eyes. And who cares if you change 6 times a year? I mean, I haven't, but who cares, right? I mean, at least you're living your fulfillment. And I'm proud of you for doing this podcast, because I also believe during the pandemic time, a lot of people felt lost and are still a little bit mentally foggy. And this is the time for transition. And that's what excites me too about my training for real estate professionals, whether you're mortgage, title, real estate, to take my training into their own communities to make a difference in people's lives, called Lux Your Lifestyle. And if you want to talk about that, Sabine, I'm happy to do that too.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Uh, One thing I just wanted to share with the listeners, my husband and I, we recently bought a house. And guess what? Who was our realtor? Jessica. But the funny thing is that you are not on the top of my list, because I got introduced to you, you being a real estate agent coach. So I wasn't really aware that you are or did or do those real estate transactions and helping others buying houses. But somebody said something and said, well, let me just call Jessica. Let me just ask her a couple questions, right? And I know we were on the phone and said, yeah, we want to buy a new house. Do you do that too? Yeah, I do all and this and that. I said, oh, okay. Yeah, just show us some houses, right? And and then you brought us this beautiful house, and I truly believe it was all in divine timing and divine order. This is where we ought to be, and I couldn't have been happier than had you as the real estate agent who made it so smooth and easy, and even referred other people. So I want to say thank you for that. Yes, I look forward to it. Yes, and I can't wait for that to happen. So thank you so much in advance, and I'm looking forward to it. What were the 3 best decisions you have ever made?
Ooh, that's a great question. I would have to say, number one, dedicating my life to God. That was a very monumental moment. And I'll be the first to admit that I did go through difficult times, and I used to sit there and think, if there really is a God, why is there suffering? So I did go through a moment, wasn't quite sure, but the moment I dedicated, that was a powerful moment. The other most powerful moment is getting married to my husband. And a lot of people didn't think it would work.
Well, we never ever want to listen to other people.
Oh, exactly. So many people thought it would fail. I mean, we had more against us than for us. And what's so ironic is now, a couple months, we're going to be celebrating 25 years.
Ooh, congratulations!
Thank you, thank you. So don't always listen to people. That's very good advice here and that. And then the other one is having my daughter.
Right.
I did go through a time where I was told by specialists I could never have kids. And she, to this day, even doctors say she is a miracle baby. So those are probably my 3 most monumental moments.
Oh, I have no doubt about it. You mentioned your dedication to God, and you questioned because why is so much suffering? Was it just you looking outside, or was it also suffering within your world, with your personal world?
Both. And at the time, it was probably more my own personal world.
And if you don't mind sharing, what was that? And what was that pivotal moment where you felt that almost that switch? Because sometimes that can go so quickly. What was that difficult and really challenging time? And then you found God, or you dedicated to God, and how did it shift and switch? What was the impact?
Oh, great question. It was just learning the answer. I mean, if anyone wants to know why, they can reach out to me, but really learning why God is allowing suffering, and it just clicked and made sense to me. And learning that moment was so powerful in my life. It just, all these things started clicking in my head. So I read online, there's this really good article that explained it, and it just clicked, and it just made a powerful shift in my brain. So you never know about what you read or share with someone, or what you say, or like you said earlier, the gesture or smile. These little things can make a really big impact in life and helping people become who they're supposed to be.
You are a very positive person. And what were like one or two of the most positive moments of your life?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a very positive person. Was it always easy? No, because I did not grow up in a positive environment. I had to really invest in personal development and training, and really had to work hard at that, and shift. And when you do shift that, I believe manifesting starts taking place. Law of attraction, really big changes start happening in your life.
Personal development, personal growth can makes a difference, period. There's no doubt in my mind. Every single person who really takes the time for personal growth will be able to live a happier and more positive life. Yeah, absolutely. What are you most proud of?
Well, besides my husband and daughter, I'm so proud of them. I'm also pretty proud that I came out of, not the best upbringing per se, and actually made it in life. But I'm also really proud what I'm working on right now. And anyone listening, I believe, will get value from that. It's Lux Your Lifestyle. A lot of people think, was that just for the rich and the famous? No. I'm discovering some people say, Jessica, luxury to me is I sold my mansion, and I am a millionaire, and I sold my mansion, but I'm going down to a tiny house, right? So it's just defining and designing your own luxury and this lifestyle, and taking people on the journey and starting back to some of the basics, including anyone listening about Become. You and I have had some brief conversations in the past about thinking about what's the best day you ever had. And really also think about, what are your passions? Or there's clues to your childhood, what you love to do.
And I love that you explained that lux or luxury is not only monetary. Luxury can also be having more time to just sit and watch the birds. For some people, that's luxury because they're so busy with all the things and accumulating wealth. Nothing against that, by all means. But if something else suffers, your health or your free time, and you don't have time to really see the world, explore, or just be with your family and loved ones, then for me, you don't have a luxurious life. Just having, bathing in champagne is not luxury to me. So I totally get it, and thanks for sharing that.
Well, to go along with what you said, I spoke with a gentleman, again, very successful, and he goes, Jessica, luxury is just sitting out in the woods in a cabin and having pure silence. Like, so every person, someone who's a millionaire, to say that, you may think that's not luxury, sitting in a cabin out in the woods. That sounds creepy to me. But luxury is so different for every person, as you said, and that's what I really want to shift the mindset out there and the persona.
Last question. What are you most thankful for?
every day a breath of life. What a gift. We're never promised tomorrow.
Mic drop. I think that was the best way to end this conversation, because this is the true meaning of life. Being grateful for today, for every breath that we have, and being grateful, being able to make a difference in this world. Jessica, thank you so much for being here and having this conversation. And I wish you all the best. And I can't wait to have another conversation sometime in the future.
Sounds wonderful. Have an amazing wow day, everyone.
That was my interview. And if you enjoyed it, give us a 5-star review, leave a comment, and share it with your friends. Thanks for listening. Until I see you again, always remember, serve from the heart, follow your passion, and live the life you imagine.